What's up? Welcome to another episode of CGX. This is episode 41. We have so much stuff again to talk about. It's amazing how the cloud gaming news just keeps coming on a weekly basis. Why am I hearing myself?
Guys, Stadia is alive and well. For the record.
For sure. My bad. Just heard myself echoing there, so I had to shut that off. But let's talk about some stuff, right? Before we introduce the panel, we have Amazon Luna releasing 2 games again this week. They released 2 last week, so we've seen some consistency there with their releases, which is awesome. We have GeForce now with 14 games, and they announced a pretty cool games that's coming out next week. And we'll get into that too and get the panel's reaction. We also have some xCloud news. You guys know Red Dead Online was released and other games this week as well, so we'll talk about that. Google Stadia had some interesting news this week, and you guys know about the article that's released, and so you've seen the title. We'll talk about that too on here. So again, so much to discuss, and then we're gonna give Boosteroid a little love at the end too, because they are doing some awesome stuff on there as well. We have a special guest today, Sunny from Sunny Cloud Gaming, so it's gonna be cool to get his reactions, discussions, and opinion piece with the conversation this week. So Sunny, it's good to see you, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's been a while, right?
It has been. You were here for like the first 3, right? So
something like that, yeah.
Something like that. Cool. Good to have you on here. All right, so let's introduce. Yeah, for sure. Let's introduce the panel. There's something different with the panel, and I'm just gonna give you guys a hint and just say that and see if you guys can figure it out. But let me know in the comments if you guys can figure that out, right? But there's something different. But let's introduce the panel, man. Duncan, how have you been doing, sir? What have you been playing on what platform?
I have been doing my usual, going on all the different platforms under the sun. This week, what have I been playing? I played some Killer Queen Black on xCloud. I have played some F1 on Stadia, like I normally do in the background. And what was the big game? I played some more Hood and showing how monkey how to play that game. Because I've had a bit of fun on a load of different ones. I know what game it was. It was an old school game on GFN I was playing. I was playing that game which came last week, the Call of Juarez. I just forgot how good that is, that game, because I've played that before, and just the talking and all that when you're playing it. It's a bit like... I just went out from my head, but it's got a lovely narrator talking as you go. It's a load of fun, that game.
Cool. So you played Hood. What's your take in that game? Still trying to get into that, and I don't know how I feel about it, but what's your take in it?
It's not a bad game. I have a horrible feeling it is going to go free to play at some time down the line, just to get the numbers in there. Yes, because it's already a mid-price sort of game. Yeah. I'm not talking imminently. I'm talking a fair bit down the line, but I think it's a good fun, and it's a laugh. And you can hide in bushes or not hide in bushes, as I might do.
So free to play, I think, will be something that benefits that game a lot, right? I think just people might be a little skeptical. I don't mind the price tag, but for that game to be free, I feel like it'll bring more eyes to it. But okay, cool. Good to have you on, Duncan. How about you, GTP? What have you been up to, sir? What have you been playing and what platform?
Yeah, pretty easy for me, because I've pretty much, anytime I have time to play anything, it's been Hood.
Really?
Yeah,
you too.
Yeah,
wow.
on GeForce now and on Xbox. So
Okay.
yeah, I really like it. I think that Duncan's right, though. Even though the $30 price tag is good, it feels like a future free-to-play game, and they've already announced their first 3 battle passes and stuff like that. So there's going to be other ways for them to make their money. But it has a lot of potential. It does need more of a player base. It takes time to get matches even on crossplay. But definitely Hood's been the one I've been going to, and since yesterday, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, because I'm working on stuff for that now, and
nice.
that's been pretty great so far. But yeah,
did that release already?
Yesterday.
Oh wow.
I know.
Man,
I
so many
didn't
games,
realize
yeah.
till like 5 p.m. yesterday. I was like, oh crap, this is out already. So then I just started, got it on Xbox and started recording stuff. So
That's insane. Gamer TV, sir, how are you? What have you been
Hey,
playing? What platform?
yeah, man, I've been all over the place. Primarily though, in Amazon Luna. I jumped back
Ooh,
to Ghost Runner just to,
ooh,
try and finish that up. It's a tough game, but it's a lot of fun, really addictive.
yep,
Call of the Sea, that was a game that I always wanted to play, but never jumped in. And with
yep.
Cloud, that's the cool thing, right? You just jump in, man. And then I tried it out, and I kind of like it, So
That's awesome.
yeah, that's my time basically.
That's cool. Blade Runner's a tough game, bro.
I'm
I
telling
feel
you, I'm telling you.
feel sorry for you with that one.
Oh, I
Almost
feel
had
sorry
me
too.
smashing my controllers, man. Crazy, crazy. All right, so all right. Let's get to Ben. I think the chat might have been on this. Did you guys figure it out? Yeah, I think you might have. But Ben, how are you today, sir? What
I'm
have you been playing? What
I'm doing okay. I let's see. I didn't play a whole lot this week. I was pretty stressful week with personal life stuff, so I got a little bit of Red Dead Online, a little bit on xCloud.
platform?
Tried it out. Um, Played a couple other things. Played a little bit of Valhalla. Jumped back into that. Played that for a couple hours the other night, but that was pretty much it.
Cool, cool. Yeah, good to have you on here, Ben. And again, your your beard is back. So that was the hint that we're giving you guys. Ben had some filters with his beard, so it's back, y'all. Chill out. All right, so Monkey, what have you been up to, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
Well, I've been playing a bit of Just Cause 4 on xCloud and got into a bit of a pickle with the black hand and ended up with a black eye. But yeah, that game's absolutely dreadful on xCloud. I won't be jumping back in anytime soon. So I switched back to my old favourite, and me and Emil went on a little journey on Naya Replicant. And then, as you know, Red Dead Online just dropped. So I've been running around as a cowboy shooting people. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
You should leave that one on.
That
Leave
one?
that the whole show.
No, I can't.
It's
I can't.
crazy, crazy. But
Yeah,
good
no,
stuff, good
them
stuff.
three. But Niall's been on Boosteroid, as you know.
Y'all in the filters today, man. What's going on? Ben. All right, good to have you, Monkey. And good games you've been playing all around for sure. All right, so we love to save the best for the last, and that's our special guest. Sonny, how are you, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
Man, I haven't really been playing much. I've just been messing with some other projects, so not much has been going on. I've been trying some of the new games that have come out for Stadia and just dabbling with that and just making sure they're working. But outside of that, there's been nothing else I've been up to really. Just kind of playing here and there. I have been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight the last month though. I've stopped for like the last week or so, but I think it's an awesome game. It's crazy how popular that game is. It's like insanely popular, which is mind blowing because it's so basic. But I like that game because you just jump in, you jump out, and then that's it. So really neat game. But outside of that, not much.
You've been playing that for quite some time now. Do you feel like you've completed most of the stuff to do in that game, or do you feel like there's still more?
Well, because it's player versus player, it's just so like everything's it's the different. Every time you play, you're gonna have a different experience. So I've gotten to play both sides, and it's a really fun game. Great game on Stadia. I mean, I've made it to the top ranks even on Stadia. Something I wanted to prove and do something. Show that you can get them high ranks in cloud gaming and yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing a little Resident Evil as well too, and that game's just insane. So
Are you playing 7 or 8?
I'm still trying to finish 7. Been slowly going through 7 and finishing it before I touch 8. So
okay, cool. Both are great games, man. Awesome, dude. Good to have you for sure. Thank you for joining the panel. So again, we're gonna have some for sure. We're gonna have some really cool stuff to talk about, man. So let's get right into it. And I just want to say shout out to y'all, to you guys watching, just a lot of you on. So we are going to be looking at the chat too and trying to include you guys in the conversation. So feel free to say your piece in the chat and we'll try to pull you in. And also, we have a giveaway going on for Cyberpunk 2077 PC giveaway. So go in the Discord, partake in that if you want to do that. All right, so let's get into this. Let's start with Amazon Luna. And man, guys, I can't stress this enough. If you guys watched my late night Let's Chat last night, you guys will know how I feel about Luna lately. And I feel like they are going to do something awesome by the end of this year. There's a lot of good things they've been doing. And last week they gave us like a month May release date, right? They give us the games that are coming, a roadmap for May, and you've seen them be consistent with releases on a weekly basis. So this week we have 2 releases, and that is Assassin's Creed Russia, if you guys were interested in that, and a game called Rad. So we're going to talk to the panel members, see if you guys have played. I know some of you guys still don't have Luna, but let us know, right, how good this is for Luna to get this, even though if you haven't played it. But for the people who have played it, let us know how your experience has been as well. So to get started, Duncan, how is this news for Luna to get Rad and Assassin's Creed Russia?
Awful news, as always. More games is always bad news. Well, there's actually a couple of other wee stories for Luna as well, which I forgot to put into the chat or into our wee notes. The first thing is another channel leaked yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is a family channel, and there is a new game there as well, which is Death Squared. So it looks like we're going to start seeing some new channels shortly on Luna. We also know that For Honor is coming to Luna now as well, on top of Stadia, which we'll come to. But these games coming. Ubisoft just added more of their back catalogue, which is great to see. And Rad, we already knew about what was coming because it was announced during their monthly update. But again, it's clever games, or Rad's another one of them. Hidden gem games, which you talk about, Lena, all the time. There seems to be creation going on there, and they're bringing some of these interesting and fun games there. And Assassin's Creed is just bulking out the Ubisoft Plus library.
Yeah. Good stuff. How would you rate this if you were to rate it? Would you say it's a good week for them overall?
I think if we're just talking about the 2 games, I would just say it's a normal sort of like. If we're bringing the other stuff in, it's a slightly better week because we're saying that there's another channel in the works now, and we've got another big game going to Luna.
Okay. So again, I feel like there's a lot of stuff Luna's working on, underneath that they're not, ready to discuss to the public yet. But yeah, you're right. Seeing stuff like this, like the family channel, shows that they are working on it, and that's always something positive, right? Cool. All right, GTP, let's get to you, sir. I know you've played Rad. You did a video on it. So how has your experience been with Luna and Rad?
Rad was good on Luna. I didn't have any issues with it at all. It's the first time I got to check it out, and it's really a pretty good game. It's one of those ones where you're like on repetitive runs. So like if you die, another tune can jump in there and you can continue your run and so on and so forth. But I didn't have any problem with that at all. Very much like you, I like just where Luna's going in general. It feels like they know what they're doing, like they have a pretty good plan. It's decent for being in beta. I still have some issues with my stream sometimes. The tech isn't quite where I want it to be. It's hit or miss, but that's to be ironed out as we go. But watching them get the content they're getting is pretty good. It's not necessarily a super strong week, like Duncan said, but it's a decent month if you look at it overall for Luna and where they're headed. So definitely happy with what I'm seeing so far.
Cool. Ben, how about you, sir? What's your take on these games coming to the Luna platform?
I mean, them adding games just shows that they're not just like letting it sit there in beta and just accumulating data. They're actually still trying to make it grow at the same time. So for me, anytime they add games is exciting, even if it's not a game that I'm a super fan of.
Okay, fair enough. But do you think Rad is by the way, if you guys haven't played Rad, personally I think is a decent game, but have you tried Rad? Because this is not a new game, it's came out on other platforms. Have you played the game, and do you think that's a good get for them?
I haven't. I watched Jerry play it the other day, saw his video. That looked fun. I'll probably start playing it. I just haven't had a chance to get to it yet.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. How about you, Game and TV? What's your take on these games coming to the Luna platform?
I think they're good filler games. They're doing a good job of just showing us that they're working towards the future, like everyone has said. Rad, in my opinion, it's a good game. I haven't really gotten into it. I just wanted to see how it ran in the cloud, and it was fine. It was smooth. I've been playing a little bit of Russia, Chronicles India. I believe India was last week, but Russia this week. They're cool. They're good filler games to show us that they're being very pointed with the library. But honestly, I've been in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm sorry. Though it's an okay week in my opinion. It's been better.
That's cool. Are you a big Rainbow Six guy?
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
That's dope. Yeah, we
love
gotta
it.
play, man.
I'm
I
telling
took a
you.
break from it, but yeah, good stuff. Awesome. How about you, Sonny? What's your take on these Luna games coming to the Luna platform?
It's been good. It's been good to see them essentially just come out with more content, more games. I've gotten to play Rad. I think I reviewed it on the Switch when it first came out, and
Yeah.
the game's all right. Like I'm a big fan of top down games, and I thought I'd enjoy it a little more than I would, and I ended up not really liking it all that much. I think it was just kind of missing something for me. But that was some time ago. I don't know if updates have happened since. I haven't gotten to play it on Luna itself. But Luna itself has just it's been pretty solid. Been good to see how they've been just kind of doing their thing and working in the background and just improving it. To what Game Tech was saying, when I try out Luna, it works perfectly for me. It's just like I have a great experience with it. So I've been really impressed with the performance side of it. So been really good to see. Like I said, they're just plugging along and doing their thing, which is awesome.
Good to hear. All right, Hell Monkey, what's your take on these games coming to the Luna platform?
Yeah, I think most of you have already, noted towards it. They're good library fillers, and I just feel like that's what Luna is doing right now. They're taking advantage of the beta tag, and they're just trying to fill out that library, and get ready for a full launch whenever that may be. Rad, I haven't played. It looks like it could be fun, and I would definitely try it if I had access to Luna. Fingers crossed that's coming here soon. And yeah, listen, the trio of Assassin's Creed Chronicle games now on via the Ubisoft Plus channel, that's good because there's nothing worse than, if you only get one out the series or two out the series. The three are on there now, and I actually prefer them ones to the proper Assassin's Creed games. So I'll take a bit of flack for that, as Duncan's shaking his head already. Yeah, I enjoy it. That 2.5D style, and that the artistic style of those games. Just personally, I really like. So yeah, I'll definitely be trying them out when they come. Well, when it comes over here, sorry.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, me personally, I feel like this is a good get, and a lot of you guys have said it here. It's a good filler to the Luna Plus channel. And man, again, if you watch the live chat that I had last night, I'm really starting to like Luna a lot. I see potential here. Again, Bryant from the Nerf Report, keep referencing this, did a video on some of the things that Luna can do to stand out. And again, the fourth thing he said, right, was if Luna can include, if Amazon can include Luna to their Prime membership, 100 and close to 50 million people, that just, to me, was an eye opener to the potential that Amazon Luna have. But yeah, so far, man, I've been playing Rad, really enjoying it. Haven't really touched any of the Assassin's Creed India, Russia, but I love where they're going with their library. A lot of Japanese games coming, so that has me excited for sure. But yeah, that's my take on Luna. Anyone else want to add anything to Luna before we hop on to GFS now? All right. So we have 14 games releasing for the GFS Now platform. And you guys know, you guys have heard me say this on a weekly basis, how I feel like GFS Now for the last 2 months has had something I call a week, right? Meaning that they've been slacking a lot with releases, right? They're giving us a lot of games, but not a lot of quality games, right? But I feel like this month, when they give us the 61 games roadmap, and specifically this week with the announcement, I feel like they are definitely giving us some quality games. So we'll talk about the 14 games coming to the platform, and Chief was able to find another game which looks pretty good that has a GeForce Now logo under it with Sniper Ghost Warrior contracts too. But let's talk about the GeForce Now game coming for this week. See if you guys are excited about it. See if you guys played any of it. So to get started, let's start with Ben. What's your take on the GeForce Now games being released for this week?
I mean, it was pretty good. They had like Biomutant is huge. That's a pretty big
Right.
game.
Huge.
I was looking at that Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts game, and that looks pretty good too.
Right.
Even though they haven't officially announced it yet, just seeing the logo on the developers page was exciting. Let's see, what else did they add?
I'm gonna
Those were
pull
the
up the list.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Those were the two that really got my attention. Hood came, so that's good. I want to play that, but after watching Duncan struggle with it, it kind of put me back a little bit. Didn't know if it would be too hard.
Yeah. So they brought
Yeah.
another game back. Let me just highlight that too. And that's, a game that I was really bummed out that left the platform with the wonderful 101, right? So that's back. So it's pretty cool to, again, see them bring in old games that left back, right? So just want to highlight that. But Biomutant is the game that they announced today. It comes out on the 25th, but I think it's quite interesting that they went ahead and announced it this week, right? Shows that they're excited about this game, shows that they want people to know that they have this game and it's coming out to the GeForce Now platform. But yeah, good stuff, Ben. How about you, Gamer TV? What's your take on these 14 games coming to the GeForce Now platform this week?
For me, I think number one, it was a smart move for them to announce Biomutant when everybody's pretty hyped up about that game.
Yeah.
I mean, the hype is at high.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm so excited about it. I'm telling all my friends, I'm like, look, I don't care how you get it.
Yeah.
Either you get it locally, play it, and run it through GeForce Now, whatever you want to do, but you need to get this game. Open world, just all the customizations with the character, the fighting system, the ways to travel around the map and the environments. It's going to be pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. That's a huge get in my opinion. So bringing something like Hood last week, and now we have Biomutant to look forward to in a couple of weeks. You can't beat it. So I won't knock GeForce Now for the 14 games they dropped this week. I'll just say it was consistent.
Okay.
And consistency is important in gaming, period.
Okay.
So kudos to them and what they're doing. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, this game is flipping high quality, man. Every time I watch a trailer video about it, I'm just like shocked at how good and how well it looks like it's gonna run and play. But yeah, overall, I do think this is a good get for GeForce Now, and I do echo that.
The
For
first
sure.
previews they showed about it, it just made me feel like you were playing with Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, right. So true, so true. Right. How about you, GTP? What's your take on these 14 games coming to the GeForce Now platform?
Well, for one thing, I'm glad GeForce Now is making Ace happy. So that is good. We don't have the week going on, so we're good.
Yes,
No, this
sir.
is great. I think when we saw the 1 month roadmap of the 61 games and we looked at that list, we could pretty much say every week is going to have something somebody's happy about because it's a pretty strong roadmap for this month. Hood is technically officially this week, even though we talked about it last week because the official date was the 10th, but we all got to start playing it on the 7th. So that was the deal with that. And Gamer TV's right. The hype is building and building for Biomutant. It's definitely one that I've been keeping my eye on. And when I saw it's coming to GeForce Now, it was so nice to see them announce that early because that's something everybody's always asking for. I want to know where I'm going to buy the game.
Yeah.
And when they let you know ahead of time, this allows people to plan a lot better
Yeah.
for either their pre-order or their launch day purchase. So great to see that. And Platinum Games, this is interesting for Wonderful 101 coming back,
Yes,
because
sir.
like you, that is a game I love. I played it back on the Wii U. Yes, the Wii U was a failure, but that game, the game was good. They had a few golden games on there that people didn't get to play because they didn't have that console.
Yeah.
This was a great one. But what was interesting is 2 weeks prior, this came to Luna.
Yes.
And then this came back on GeForce Now, so Platinum Games is getting cloud friendly, is getting
Yes,
the love with
sir.
cloud. So that's what really kind of caught my attention, had
Yeah.
me excited as well to see what else they might have in store.
I'm glad you said that. I was thinking the same thing too. They are approaching the cloud, and I think that's awesome. So
Yeah.
hopefully we see other games from them come, because they have some really awesome games for sure. Cool. Duncan, let's get to you, sir. What are your thoughts on these games coming to the platform?
First of all, I don't think there's any point going over Biomutant against everybody's hyping that up beyond belief. With the games here, the two games that stick out for me are the Wonderful 101, but I'll come back to that. The other game here, I know it's an old game, I know it's an Ubisoft game, it is Child of Light. If you have not played Child of Light, I thoroughly recommend that game. It is a load of fun, and it is a JRPG of sorts, but it's a more like version of it, and it's very accessible. And it was one of their UbiArt games. I really recommend that game. The interesting thing about the Wonderful 101, and Barry pointed this out, is they've actually separated that off as returning to GeForce Now.
Yeah, you're right.
Is this an indication that we're going to maybe get a few more games coming down the line? Because they've actually made a big, it's not a big song and dance, but you know what I mean? They've emphasized the point that it is returning to GFN. So I think this is something we may need to keep an eye on going forward.
True. That's a good observation for sure. But yeah, good to hear your take on it. How about you, Sonny? What's your take on the GeForce Now news for this week?
It was good, man. I feel like every week, covering them, nothing ever really like lately to me has stood out to where I'm like, oh, okay, until this week with Biomutant, and then of course the Sniper Ghost game kind of there leaked as well. And I thought this was really cool to see it ahead of time, to see a game people can get hyped for, and like someone said earlier, being able to pre-purchase that and have an idea of where you're gonna buy it. Really cool to see that, and I'm actually very excited to give the game a shot myself. So got me pretty hyped for something on GeForce Now, which admittedly has kind of been a while since I have been. So really neat to see. And for the rest of the games, I just heard about Hood not that long ago and saw it was kind of like that Payday, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So that was cool. And then the rest of the games on there pretty solid overall. So like I said, in my head, GFN's always just like Mr. Consistent. In my head, that's what I call them. They're just always consistently getting good stuff out every week. So good to see. But this week for me, it was like, okay, now some hype with a game on GFN. So really cool.
Right. Yeah, good point with that. If you guys have been following, I've stated this before about the weeks. So I think you're right on. They haven't been showcasing like great games on a consistent basis, but I feel like recently they have. But yeah, cool. How about you, Monkey? What's your take on this, man?
Well, I am really surprised no one has mentioned Ostriv just yet. I mean, who wouldn't want to build cities in 17th century Ukraine, No, listen, if you get a chance, check out When Ski Lifts Go Wrong. I'm going to pick that up. That looks like it has a ton of fun in it. It just looks like one of these silly games that you could lose so many hours in.
Are you kidding me right now, Monkey?
Look at it, mate. Yeah, but we'll wait until the trailer goes forward. Look, you have to build your bridges and make it over. That just appeals to me, man. I could lose too many hours in that one an evening. Just a silly game like that.
Fair
I think it looks great. I mean, it doesn't appeal to everyone, but there is a bit of something. There is a bit of something in there for everyone, like GeForce Now keep doing. On the point of the Wonderful 101, my thoughts there. Did NVIDIA reach out after they saw that it was going to Luna, or did Platinum Games reach out to get it onto more platforms? That's my question there, as to see who approached who, and will we see any more games returning? And everyone asked for GTA to return, etc. Hopefully, this opens up the door to get the games back on there that were lost when I left beta.
True. Good point. And thank you for that, Hell Monkey. All right, cool. So that is our GFS Now news for this week. Just want to know if I'm missing something. Anyone, feel free to hop on there and let us know. But let's move on to Google Stadia, because I feel like this piece is actually going to be a long session, so I want to make some time for it, right? So certain two games I would say came out for the platform for this week, and those games I would say are pretty decent games, right? You have Street Power Soccer. Now, if you guys are looking for a good arcade soccer game, I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was something Street. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was like EA but it's kind of like this is an arcade 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3 soccer game. This kind of reminds me of that. But just want to check in with you guys, see if anyone picked that up yet. But the other game is 100 Days, which seems kind of popular. as kiddyish as this game looks, it seems like it has a pretty good following for sure. So let's check in about those two games, and then we'll check in about the other two games that was announced that are coming soon, and then the article. So what are your thoughts on these two games coming to Google Stadia this week? So we'll start off with GTP.
You know me. Any games coming are good games because I know someone's going to play them. It's not really anything super exciting here for me, especially with the Rainbow Six Siege and For Honor announcement coming out of Ubisoft. It kind of overshadowed the smaller stuff for me, so I wasn't super excited for it. But overall, the releases have been pretty good, and with getting Resident Evil and stuff like that, I'm not a person who thinks every week needs to be some kind of killer week, or that, we need the biggest game every week. They look decent enough, but nothing that was really super exciting to me there on those.
Cool. Yeah, all right. Decent enough. I will take that.
Decent enough.
Stadia this week. How about you, Ben? What's you taking these two games coming to the platform this week?
The one that actually got my interest was not what I thought it would be. It was the 100 Days one.
Yeah, dude, a lot of people are going crazy for that game. It's insane. Yeah. So what do you like about it? Have you played it? And if so, like what is calling you to that game?
I don't know. I just started drinking more wine recently.
That should do it, right?
Yeah, trying to replace, beer and whiskey with wine just for health reasons. But yeah, that kind of perked up my interest because it's similar time frame to all these adjustments that I'm making. But I don't know. It just seems like a fun little simulator.
Okay, cool. How many hours have you put into it? And
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm just it got my interest. Like I'll probably try it out.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. How about you, Gamer TV? What's your take on these two games coming to the platform?
I think 100 Days is, like you said, that's the winner for me this week. I do plan on picking it up. I've popped in a few streams just to watch gameplay, and I'm a fan of simulators, right? I love simulators in general, and I like to see the logic at play and experience how that works out, right? It's more of a nerd thing for me, just to see how the developers coded things on the back end to really see the interactions and the cause and effect of decision making in game. So that's my main reason for wanting to pick this up. But I do like the stylistic approach. It looks different and it seems like a lot of fun. So I'd say it's a good get. I am a little leery. I'm on Duncan's side of the fence here when it comes to 100 Days. I'm afraid that it might become a pro game at some point. But so I don't know, man. I might jump in and get it just to support a game like this coming over to the platform before it hits pro.
Nice, cool. Good to hear you taking it for sure. And what's your take on this, Monkey?
Yeah, as someone that usually likes a good deal of simulation games, unfortunately, this does not appeal to me. Street Power Soccer, yeah, it kind of does. It reminds me of an arcade style of FIFA Street. I used to play that
That's
game.
what it is. Yeah.
I used to play that game religiously because, Ronaldinho growing up was, and still is probably, one of my most favourite footballers, and he was on the cover.
Yeah.
But like the guys have alluded to already, I see one, if not both, of those games landing on Pro at some point this year. So I'm just gonna bide my time, and hopefully Street Power Soccer comes on there onto my sub.
Okay. Man, that seems to be. I mean, you've seen Sherman Game State here. 200 days seems like it will hit pro. And yeah, we've talked about that here, but just want to check in with Sunny. What's your take on them getting these two games with 100 days and the freestyle soccer?
I mean, like Game Tech said, man, every week can't be like the best. But there's, I mean, they're good games. I mean, 100 Days is a type of game that Stadia just doesn't really have. There's some, but not that type of game, and it's something that is always good to have, just something that's completely different. And then the arcadey soccer football is good to see. I mean, it's just solid again. I'm seeing that 100 Days is kind of getting mixed reviews, which is interesting. I have both of them, and I was going to start trying them out tonight, so it'll be interesting to play them. I've been looking forward to 100 Days for quite some time, but interesting to see that it's gotten some mixed reviews already. So that's too bad. We'll see what it's about, but I haven't played it myself, but it does look interesting. I've always been interested in the simulators, very, very interested in these titles, so we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Duncan, do we get to you in this one?
No, I'll make it nice, short, and
Yeah.
sweet.
Sure.
More games coming, good. Nothing moving the needle, but good game or more games coming is good. And unfortunately, it's as a couple of us said, and a couple of people in chat have said, a bit of worries over pro games at some stage.
Yeah.
But if I was going to choose a game to play and buy, it would probably be the 100 Days one, because that's probably more up my alley. I'm not into the skill-based football. I didn't like FIFA Street, so I'm more I'm a PES person. So Hellmonkey will know what I mean. I'm more Pro Evolution Soccer rather than FIFA. I just like the more realistic sort of football games. But more games coming is always good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, for sure. It's good to get y'all's take on these games. Me personally, I feel like it was an okay week. Not the best. Again, I've said this before. Stadia's been killing it recently with Judgment, Outriders, and Resident Evil 7 and 8 coming to the platform. But yeah, this I would say was a good, decent week, but not the best week for sure. But let's talk about the two games that was announced for the Google Stadia platform coming. Now, one of these games really has my interest, and that game is, what's it called? Super Animal Royal, which is kind of like a battle royale. And I think Stadia needs more of these. Apart from PUBG, they don't have a lot of battle royales. So this game looks pretty incredible. It's a 2D type game. It's not 3D, but still looks like a lot of fun. And then the other game they announced was Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. So just want to talk to the panel members, see what y'all's take is on these games. Are you guys excited about it? Are you guys going to pick any of these games up? So to get started, Gamer TV, what's your take on these games?
I'm excited for Stadia regarding Animal Royale, right? Personally, it isn't for me. I'm not excited about that, but I'm excited for Stadia to get another free-to-play. And it seems as if it'll be pretty simple to pick up. So if you're interested and curious in Stadia as a platform, here you go. You have another option to just jump in and have some fun. I think Destiny is a little more complex for the simple person to pick it up and just jump in free to play. Okay, cool. But and this Animal Royale thing, that could be, oh man, that could be a hook, a good hook. I'm in. I like it. It worked well. Okay, what else do you have? So I get the reasoning behind the pickup and making this free to play. Good decision, smart move. I mean, not my game, but smart move. And same thing with Shanti. You know, that isn't my style right now. I'm focusing on more of the bigger, AAA titles. That's where I need to go because I'm working on a project, and I tend to play what I'm working on, which it's weird, but I need more insight.
Yeah.
And those games really aren't it for me, but they're great for Stadia.
Okay, fair enough. Nicely said. Also, to throw in there for those of you guys wondering, this does have cross play, progression, so you can literally play it on your Nintendo Switch and carry over on Google Stadia. So I think overall that's awesome. But let's check in with you, Ben. What's your take on this game coming to the platform?
It looks super weird. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not a big fan of battle royales to begin with. So I'll just have to see some people play before I make a decision.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Did we get to you in this one, GTP?
Not yet. And I'm
Okay,
I'm
go
pretty
ahead.
much in line with Gamer TV on the fact that this isn't necessarily a game for me. However, every time I look at this trailer, I kind of want to play it.
It looks fun, y'all.
What I do love is I'm always saying Stadia. I love that you're going after these AAA games, but they're so expensive. Go after some games like this, cross-play, cross-progression, and a game that has the potential to pick up. I mean, look what happened to Fall Guys. Nobody would have anticipated its popularity when it released.
Right.
I wanted that on Stadia. That didn't happen. But seeing a game like this come over with all the free to play, no entry barriers, jump on Stadia for free, cross play, cross progression. So even if you're playing it somewhere else, you have no reason not to give it a shot over on Stadia again. Like Gamer TV said, that could be a good hook. And these are I think these games have more potential to grow their player base than any of the larger games that they've been bringing.
True. Fair enough. Thank you for that. Sonny, what's your take on these two games being announced for the Google Stadia platform?
Well, Shanti, I'm not that big of a fan of those types of games, the platformers and all that. So, I mean, it's just solid, but I have to say, Super Animal Rails got me kind of hyped, man, because it looks fun. Like, it just looks something that you just jump in and you just goof around and you don't take serious. You're not gonna rage if you die because it's just such a simple looking game, top down battle royale, free to play, and then cross progression. I'm wondering if there's gonna be some sort of free to play push and maybe some marketing there with Stadia, just because we haven't heard anything from Outcasters. That game's just kind of stopped. There's just been nothing there, and we've all assumed. I'm assuming you guys have assumed that's going free to play at some point, right? So I'm just wondering if there's going to be a push, and then this is maybe part of it with this, and they're just going to really push free to play and just a little segment of it, I should say, on Stadia. I think the game just looks really solid. I'm looking at the reviews as well. I mean, this has a ton of over 10,000 very positive reviews on Steam. It's very well liked. To me, the gameplay looks really fun. I think I'm going to get into this one personally, and I actually can't wait to play it. And I think it's a really good one too to note. A really good mobile game as well too. One of those just appeals in that realm as well. So kind of excited for it.
Cool. Yeah, man. Same here. That game definitely has my interest. But yeah, let's see how that plays out. And it'll be interesting just checking on the free to play too and see if they'll make that push, right? With Outcasters as well. All right. So, Monkey, did we get to you in this?
No, but I mean, everyone's covered everything. The only thing that I would add to this is I'm so disappointed they haven't mentioned anything about crowd play or crowd choice. I'd like to see them implement that into a free to play game on Stadia and market it and push it really well. Try and get some new peeps in the door and just show the potential of the platform. Listen, it could still come, but Sonny made a really good point about it being a really good mobile game, and as we know, Stadia is great on the go. So I'm looking forward to trying it. I mean, who doesn't want to run around as a panda shooting foxes? Completely free, So yeah, other than that, it's a solid couple of games.
Cool.
Adding to the library.
Yeah, for sure. Duncan, do we get to you in this? What's your take?
Yeah, you didn't. Just having another wee look at the Super Animal Royale. At this moment in time, it's got about just under 1,000 people playing it on Steam, so that's going to be a good thing for when it comes to Stadia. We're going to have people to play matches with. The interesting thing about this, there's no release date for Stadia, and I think it's coming to PlayStation and Switches as well, most likely. But it is coming out on Xbox on the 1st of June. It's going to be part of Game Pass. It hasn't mentioned that it's going to be part of Cloud yet, but if you get it on, if you're an Xbox user, because it's going to be cross progression and all that sort of jazz, if you claim your pack on Xbox, you should be able to use it on Stadia when that comes down the line. Just 2 more games added to the library, and I think we're basically all in agreement here that it's Super Animal Royale's the pick of them 2 games. And I agree with Hell Monkey here. I think if they can get some sort of crowd choice or crowd play and maybe some crowd choice like choosing maps or some sort of Stadia features, that would be a real good thing for that as well. But I'm not surprised that nothing like that's been announced yet, because they're going to be doing the big Xbox push.
Okay.
I was looking at the chat, and Holtz was talking about how it reminded him of Happy Tree Friends. I thought the same thing when I first saw it. It's like they wanted to turn Happy Tree Friends into a battle royale, but couldn't because of copyright. So they just basically did the best they could.
Right.
Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
The cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. All right, so this is going to be an interesting segment, interesting conversation. So you guys saw the news, the article that was released that titled "Stadia is still alive." Stadia is alive and well, right? So it's interesting because I talked to members of this panel in our little Discord group, and it's pretty cool because I feel like it's split. I'm excited about the news, right? Some other people are excited, but there's some people that are like, yeah, well, I don't know about this. I don't know. This still doesn't showcase if this platform is going to be around. So I am really interested and excited for this segment because I think it'll be great discussion amongst the members of this panel. Right. So if you guys haven't read the article, it's stating that this is a little shakeup, right? We have there's an interview led by it says the developer marketing Nate Ahin. I can never say his last name, but he's saying that Stadia is alive and well and has plans to release more than 100 new games for the platform this year. He states, we continue to make Stadia a great place to play games on the device that you already own. So I love that, first of all. The fact that, in a way, is stating, right, some of the benefits of Google Stadia as a whole. They're not saying, give me the 10 teraflops nonsense that they did at GDC. They're like, this is what Stadia is. This is how it can benefit the gamers, right? So kudos to that, right? We're continuing to make Stadia a great place to play games on devices that you already own. It's good marketing right there. But other shakeups, right? They stated that Don Zimmerman is now the head, who is a Google. He's described as a senior lead in the product development for both Project Steam and Stadia. So again, I think it's an internal shakeup, but I think overall, right, this is good news for Google Stadia. It's letting people know that the service is still alive. People are still working on it. Yes, there were moves made, right, that freaked people out with the closure of the first-party studios. But I feel like with this article, it's pretty much saying, yeah, we're still okay. This is a shakeup, but we're still okay. So to me, that boosts my confidence that this is going to be around, that they're still interested in working on this. But that's just me. So again, I'm going to open this up to the panel and get y'all's take on this and see where y'all are at. So to get started, let's start with you, Ben. What's your take on this news article?
It gave me a little bit of confidence back in Stadia. I still don't know if I'm ready to start buying games in bulk again.
Yeah.
Confidence, yes. The trust still needs a little more building up. I need to see some more action.
Tell me about that. Like, what do they need to show you, trust-wise?
More than just an article talking about just the positives. I need to see the action of them moving forward and showing and trying to get more marketing and publicity out, and more of the business side of things, that and just start focusing on that and try and grow the platform more.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. How about you, Gamer TV? What's your take on this article?
Personally, I thought it was a really great article, man. It's an editorial piece, and I try to separate that out from opinions and everything else. Where editorial, you need references, you need sources for pieces like that, and it was a pointed, positive piece, 100%. You don't have a representative of a company come on for an interview with any publication without pre-warning them, hey, yes, this is going to be a positive piece. What
Right.
can we touch? What can we not touch? What should we stay away from? You know,
Right.
this, it was strategic. So for me, I won't put a lot of faith or a lot of, you know, I'm not going to put a lot into it, except, hey, I'm happy that Google is out here speaking on it. I'm happy that they're telling us that, hey, yeah, we're still interested, we're still committed, we're still moving forward. But what did you expect them to say outside of nothing, right? And that's what we've been given. We've been given nothing towards, you know, what has occurred outside of a press release that was more business focused. This was more for us, you know, the users of the platform, and I appreciate that. So kudos to them for that piece. Now, I like to dig in and really check out what isn't said, you know, and how they're saying what they're saying. All of that is important too. So if you're going to take it for face value, then kudos, it's a parade in the streets, right? But if you truly just sit back and say, hey, let's see what they're really saying here and what they aren't saying to us, and approach it from there, then you might have the, okay, let's wait and see. I'm happy they're speaking, but let's just wait and see. Let's see where this thing goes. You know, that's my take.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for your input. I feel like we're not done with this discussion from you, but let's again continue to open up to the panel members. What's your take on this, Duncan?
I'm more in line with Gamer TV here. The big, massive, positive, oh my God, they're alive and they're actually speaking. And that is what is great. They've actually came out to the press and actually did an interview, and that is the big, massive positive. But the long-term things, again, they would not be coming out to say in an article, yes, we've messed up. We're struggling. We're up there our necks. We're going under. No, they won't be doing that. But it's what they have said and what they haven't said. It's just really intriguing in this article. And if you're just reading it from the top end, it is a positive piece for people in the Stadia community. But there is some interesting wording and signs because Stadia is alive and well. That question would not that statement would not have to be said unless Stadia was struggling or perceived to be struggling. So that is why that is the headline. Also the thing here is they're still refusing to answer. I'm assuming we're going to be talking about this more. We're going to be going through this with a fine-tooth comb by the sounds of things. They haven't actually mentioned the user numbers, and there's only one reason you don't mention user numbers, and that is if they are extremely weak. I think with them still refusing to actually come out with the user figures, it is just backing up again that the user base is not there for Stadia, because it's in that article that they have refused to answer that multiple times.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks for your input, Duncan. Let's get to Sunny. Let's hear your take on this news article.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers to this, and I've looked at this pretty closely. I mean, the headline cracked me up. First off, that headline is just like Duncan said, you don't have a headline like that unless you're essentially getting hit with negative pieces. And I mentioned this, I don't know where I mentioned it. I don't think I mentioned in my recent video, maybe in the Discord or something, but I mentioned that that I wish this was done a little sooner. They definitely took a bit to have someone just speak out and say something, and I think that's kind of my biggest issue overall. But like I said, there's a lot of layers to this. For me, it was good that they came out and they said something, and they essentially gave confidence, a little bit of confidence to a lot of users. I think my personal opinion is that they're kind of in a phase right now where they're still plugging along. They're still, what's been planned for this year, next year is still on track, but I still think they're trying to figure out their entire thing, what they're doing, how they're going forward with everything. And I think that they've realized, and I've realized this too myself, and I mentioned this last week on my live stream. I think they've stopped looking at themselves as competition. Who knows how long this has been, but competition for the other platforms. If you're looking at this from just the cloud gaming space, Stadia's up there. They're one of the forefronts. And the thing is that a lot of us are, and a lot of people in the community and outside, especially outside, and this is on Stadia, they shot themselves in the foot. Because they came out of the gate comparing themselves to the other platforms, to Xbox, and which was a huge mistake, because this is a platform that's brand new, and then you have all these other ones that have been around 24. I mean, physical hardware has been around in gaming since what, 40, 50 years now? This is completely new. So looking at this from just that cloud gaming point, I think that they are looking at what they're doing going forward. When you put it in that space and you go, okay, we're going to just focus on, we're just the cloud gaming platform right now, and we're looking at it from that space. So we're going to go ahead and get this out in more countries, and more places are going to now have access to this. And as I said before, and I've said this a million times, I've said this for probably over a year now, there's huge millions of people who have never messed with a console. They have never messed with any of that stuff. Like they would just love to just play big AAA games. And I think that's where their focus is going to be. I think that's where their focus should be. No longer really trying to compete with Xboxes and all these. They need to just focus on that and continue to get the tech out, because regards to the tech, I mean, it's up there. It's for me, it's the best. It's the one that's innovating. I mean, just the bridge mode, that to me kind of blew me away a little bit. Stuff like that, little things like that really speak volumes. So I've seen evidence that they're still just, they're working along for the future. Their plan is still moving on forward ahead, but it's going to be interesting. And I continue to ask, even though in the article I think you said signing on more studios, that was important to read that. But of course, I still ask: is that signing on big AAA publishers, developers, or was that just the context of the Stadia makers, which we've seen plenty of? And there's still some questions to ask, but I was very, very happy with them to finally come out. I wish they would have come out 2 months ago. I mean, anytime a month ago, but it's better that they finally came out. They finally spoke. And I hope that going forward now, we have somebody that's going to continue to just talk about the platform, whether that be, I forget the other guy, he talked back in November, or Nate himself, whoever. Hopefully there's going to be a public face going forward, and they're just communicating more. So those are my overall thoughts.
Right. Thanks for sharing, Stan. Appreciate that. So, question for you guys. I heard people were saying that they took too long, right, to announce anything. Do you think that why that happened was because it was like shift or changes in the internal? So because we see two new people get certain like promotions now, right? Do you think they were trying to like figure that piece out, and now that they have that piece, this guy's doing this guy's doing that, now we can start addressing the issues to the public? Do you feel like that was going on internally, and that might have been what kind of hindered them coming out publicly with giving us a statement like this? Just open it up to the panel, anyone can hop in.
Well, that was a point I was going to make. See, if you look back over the recent timeline, it's all starting to fit together now. So, Stadia had a big marketing push the end of last year into the new year. They were doing really well. John Justice had his interview where he said, like, the games that they wanted, the games that were coming were all signed up until the end of this year. Anything after that was going to be a bonus. But yeah, Ace, you make a really good point. So I think they're scaling back to try and ascertain a long-term goal. because the cloud gaming market just isn't big enough for the amount of players that's in it right now. It's not big enough to be, in the short term profitable. So I think they've scaled back and possibly looking at it long term. And now that everything's settled down, Nate's came out and he's had this interview. But the thing that's missing from this interview for me, and Sonny mentioned it, more countries, man. There's 100 million players potentially in South America that would absolutely love to have something like Stadia there.
Yeah. Yeah, the expansion to more countries, I feel like can, up the user base of Google Stadia.
And more
members.
countries are coming this year.
Yeah,
More countries are coming.
I'd be really shocked, right, if they don't try to get into more countries for sure. But GTP, you've been quiet, man. Let's hear your thoughts on this.
I love it because it's interesting that we all usually differ quite a bit, but everyone's kind of on the same page right now with Stadia. Gamer TV, Sonny, Duncan, we're all kind of saying the same thing, and it's very similar to the stuff that I've just been saying since like February with Stadia. Like Sonny said, I wish that would have happened a couple of months ago. That's the sister statement I've been saying every week. When you come out and do something like close SG&E, I want to see that sister statement of positivity that comes out with reassurances that says, while we're doing this negative thing, there's also this reason or this positive push. And we sat for 2 or 3 months without getting anything. And that just kind of sticks with people, and still has issues with confidence due to that. They've never really been able to answer. A reason a lot of people's confidence was shaken is they were expecting the SG&E studios to produce those cloud-only experiences that third-party developers are never going to be able to deliver on. Once that closed, they lost that possibility. So they were then looking to what's next. And now it looks like they'll be shifting to being more of bringing on more studios, more games, third-party support. That's great. I think what we're seeing is the beginning of what me and Duncan have both been talking about this year is the slow changeover and refocus of Stadia, whether it was a rebrand or changed into something else. In its current state, it couldn't survive. It's not bringing on players fast enough, and it's not able to do it. But to refocus it and change its ambitions, it definitely has a lot of potential. And like Sonny said, coming out of the gate and saying we're going to take on Sony and Microsoft and the PlayStation and the Xbox was a huge mistake, and it put their comparison bar so high that there was no way they were going to come out and just become on top. They were going after some of the big boys, and we're not able to do that. And Stadia is a ways away from ever being able to compete with something like local hardware with that, because people want every single game that's releasing, not just some of them. And it's going to take time. But yeah, I think this is the beginning of the refocus. I think this is where Stadia will start to shift its vision a little bit. But we need to see the marketing behind it. More good interviews, more positive information coming from them. And I'd like to see a little bit more transparency for what Stadia's got going on. We know the numbers are low, but that's okay, depending on what you're working towards. So while I think there's still a lot of negatives, and I still in the boat of like Ben or Duncan, where it's hard to recommend mass buying games on Stadia because I don't know what this looks like in 6 months to a year or so. I definitely think we're seeing that shift or that change, and it could become a really positive thing, or it could not. And I'm still just kind of sitting waiting for those questions to be answered.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, GTP. Just want to ask you guys, again, there has been changes internally. People, just John Justice left. You have Nate here. You have this Don guy here. Do you feel like these people are going to be good for Google Stadia moving forward? It seems like the people that are in key lead position for Stadia now are people who have known the tech, who've been part of Google Stadia. Just overall, do you think these guys are the right guys to kind of push Stadia forward? Just going to open that up to the panel as well.
I think it's too early to tell at this moment in time. Yeah. Me personally, I said this a number when we found out about John Justice leaving. I would love to have seen a game, some sort of person in the gaming industry come in as a product lead and someone from the outside as a new broom trying to steer the ship. So I think it's going to take us a while to see any of these changes, because even if they come in and do a big massive clear out and make all these big changes, it's going to take 6 months, a year, if not multiple years, for this sort of thing to pan out, because you can't just chuck money at a game to make it come tomorrow. It's going to just take a bit of time for some of these changes for you to see these changes in action, just like what's happened at Microsoft. Microsoft, it's took them nearly a whole generation of a console to get into the position where they are now. It's all about, will Google have the time and the patience for these changes to actually happen?
Okay. Good take on that, Duncan. Anyone else with these guys, coming in now, replacing the other people? Do you feel like it's a good move, and do you feel like this will push Google Stadia forward?
Well, Duncan alluded to it there. It's a little bit too early to tell, but I didn't mention last week or the week before that I'd like to see, a solid gamer on the team, someone that understands what gamers wants. And Mr. Dov Zimring, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. He strikes me as that sort of person who seems to, he obviously knows the Google tech. He's a Stadia founder, and it strikes me as someone that has gamed across the years, like we all have. So hopefully, someone like him, can drive the platform, and make it better for us gamers in terms of communication and and transparency and things, because that's the biggest thing that we look for. Don't shy away. Don't shy away for the numbers. Look, we know they're low. You've only just started. You ain't even 2 years old. We don't expect you to have tens of millions of users. Just let us know these things and let us know the plans going forward. And hopefully we see that with the changes starting to settle down now. I hope over the summer we start hearing more and we get a bigger marketing push, a better marketing push, hopefully. And that will build my confidence.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll just jump in quickly on that
Sure.
point there, piggybacking. And I'm sorry, Ben, I didn't know you were going to.
No, go ahead.
Up in. But I have 2 questions.
Sure.
Are these people empowered to make the best decisions for Stadia? That's the only way this platform moves forward. Google has to step aside and let the people they're bringing in or promoting to figureheads or other executive positions to actually be empowered enough to make the best decisions for Stadia. Outside of that, I don't care what game you bring. I mean, we've seen Cyberpunk, we've seen Resident Evil 8, we've seen Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and nothing's changed for Stadia. Or if it has, it's been very marginal, right? So I don't care what you bring. I don't care what you do. If you don't empower the people you've hired to make the best decisions for the platform will not move. It's as simple as that. And the second point is, I think it's a bigger issue. Stadia has to figure out the why. Why should you play Stadia? Why should you care about Stadia? Not everyone is confined within the Google ecosystem. Not everyone owns a Pixel phone, and it's just logical for you to try Stadia, right? So what's the reason why for everyone else? Is it big enough? Can that move them off of their base from going somewhere else? You can say, well, cloud convenience, you can say this and all this other stuff, but those gaps are closing dramatically fast. So you won't be able to hang your head on cloud convenience or this or that or most console-like experience. That's going to go away very soon. So now the biggest issue, if you want to survive long term, figure out a better reason why people should play Stadia.
That's a great point. And I do think this is what is a little bit frustrating with the whole situation, right? Again, at the Video Games Award, we all came here and said that was probably one of the worst marketing we've seen for any gaming, console or platform. And then you saw after that they started getting their marketing right. There's a video they put out, it's like a 2-minute video, like identifying what Stadia was, right? So it felt like they were getting things fall of last year, felt like they were getting things in order again. Marketing was right. The features started coming. iOS support. We got Cyberpunk. I mean, Stadia was, if you look on Google search around fall, December, November, Stadia was being searched a lot, right? And so it seemed like they had the momentum going, right? They had a clear identity of what this platform was. They were marketing it correctly. And all of a sudden you have the closure of the first party studio, and I feel like that just killed it for them. But what you were saying as to give people a reason to play Stadia, I feel like they got that end of last year. And I wonder if they're going to continue with that, because again, I really think they figured out what Stadia was and they were marketing it correctly. But yeah, thank you for that. And we'll continue to see where this whole thing goes. But anyone else want to give the input with these two guys?
Yeah, I'll say something. I think that I think that might just be a cloud gaming question in general, not just specific to Stadia. I think we're just all of us here on this panel and in general, we're kind of at the forefront of something that is still trying to get used to the fact that you can even game. I mean, the perception of cloud gaming in general, doesn't matter which platform, is that I have all this latency and I can't I can't compete or I can't enjoy my game, and that's just a cloud gaming general question in general. So I think for Stadia, and I've been on record on saying this, because I think really a lot of this points to the launch and how that went, and a lot of the negative. Like if Stadia wants to compete down the road with the big wigs at some point, because I think right now, like as I said earlier, I think they're refocusing, and it's more like, okay, we're just going to focus on being the best cloud gaming platform we can be, and just focus on that end. But I think down the line, they really want to start to compete with some of the other ones. I think a potential rebranding, I don't know how that would look, would be something I would take a look at. But not just that, a lot of perception of cloud gaming in general is that it's like a Netflix. That is literally what it's looked at. A lot of people think, okay, I have this library, I have this big library of games, and I can just launch it and play it. And I think for Stadia or Luna, which Luna's kind of doing that, I think that might be where they might. I've always said expand Pro as much as you can. I've been on record for that for over a year now. Expand Pro. I always thought that Pro would reach 50, 60 games by now. I never thought that it'd go backwards, because I think at some point we had way more than 30. Yeah. I don't know. It was like, yeah. And then it went back down to like under 30. And I was always surprised by that. I'm like, wait, you guys are dialing Pro back? You should be expanding it further, not dialing it back. So I think if they ever want to compete one day, and I don't know if it ever will, I think cloud gaming, because gaming is a different medium than watching TV shows and movies. I don't know if but I always feel cloud gaming will be a huge part of gaming's future, especially in other countries where, getting a console is not even a thing. Like that's not even possible because of how expensive they are. I mean, we can't even get consoles here, right? At this current generation. I mean, so cloud gaming's absolutely got a future. It's going to be who can get into these markets, who can really get to these markets first, and then who's providing, not just the content and the games, but also the performance. And I think Stadia has a chance for sure to be number one in that. And I know xCloud is doing their thing too. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings on what's going on and what they're doing around the world and all the stuff over there. So it's going to be really interesting to see as the years goes on. I think it's a matter of getting cloud gaming itself just more used to gamers in their heads that this works and it works really good, and this is an alternative way of playing. And however they decide to use that, if they use it as a demo or if they use it as their main play is when they're out and about, or however that can be. So yeah, those are just my random thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those. Appreciate that. So I learned this in business. I did my undergrad in business, and something they say all the time, right? If something's not working, change it, do something different, try something different, right? So again, we can sit here and say Stadia's launch wasn't the greatest. We can sit here and say Stadia should have launched in beta like Luna and xCloud and GeForce Now all did, but didn't, right? So there's a lot of things that went wrong with Stadia launching and its first year, right? So it seems like a lot of people there are gone, right? It seems like they now have changed things around internally, right? So to me, I think this is a good thing overall. If something's not working, try something different, see how that works. So for me, I'm not counting Stadia out just yet. I think actually this might have been the change that was needed to move the platform forward. These two guys, this Don guy and Nate guy, seem like they really know what Stadia is, and hopefully we can sense the passion. Someone was saying that here earlier, right? We need a face. We need someone who is excited. I mean, you look at what Phil Spencer does for the Xbox brand. People see Phil, they associate Xbox with Phil. Whenever Phil says something, they get excited. You see what Reggie did for Nintendo, right? They associated a passionate dude for their platform. So hopefully we see some Stadia connects. We see these guys. We see them connect with, people who love Stadia and push this forward. I think this might overall be a really good thing, this shakeup that has happened for them. But I'm gonna open it up again. Anyone else? Ben, I know you want to say something. I don't know if we got to you yet.
Yeah, it's good to see somebody else stepping up. I feel like Stadia needs a really good figurehead / spokesperson, which they've lacked from the beginning. All they had was Phil, and don't get me wrong, Phil's a good business guy, but he's a sales guy. He oversold Stadia to Google and pushed it before it was ready, and they needed somebody that would have been ready to draw it out more slowly, like everybody else has done with their cloud gaming platforms and services. He just rushed everything, and he's been so silent. After the launch, there's been very little. He should have been stepping up and saying more and giving more positivity and encouraging people about where it's going in the direction. And there's been very little of that.
Okay. So when it comes to Phil, do you feel like he's doing it again? We know Phil's history, not the greatest track record, but do you feel like that's a change that possibly might need to be made? Him possibly not
I
being
can't say for
there.
sure. We don't know what
Okay.
he's doing. He's not letting us know what he's doing.
Okay.
As far as we know, he's just sitting in his office in a chair, sitting on Facebook all day. We don't know.
Hopefully he's not.
It's
doing
complete, just complete silence, and that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, gamers, I know I've been following gaming for a long time. Gamers like to associate a leader, if you want to call it that, with the brand. Again, you look at Reggie, I mean, the dude, people know him, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Nintendo, you look at Phil, people know him. Sony had their thing going for Jack Tretton. They keep moving and changing things, but people like to associate a person with a brand when it comes to gamers do. And Phil, I'll be 100% honest with you, man. When I heard they were bringing him on board, Jid Raymond would have been a great So they have these people, but for some reason they're not they're not stepping into the light to be that public face or the public figure for Stadia. But yeah, I think that might help push that forward. And hopefully we see with these two guys, Nathan Dove, that they might be that face that people identify Stadia with if Phil is not going to be that face, right? So we'll see. We'll see.
They absolutely need somebody. I think Jack Buser could have done a good job. Could do a good job, and I don't know why he's disappeared since his what he said last year, where he got us all hyped.
Yeah.
Because he was under the impression that everything was, and it wasn't that long ago. That was before the closure. So as far as they knew, everything was on track and everything was looking good. So I think Jack would be great, and I would definitely implore those over there to get somebody up there and just communicate with us and give us that positivity and that enthusiasm, especially since I'm seeing that they're still making moves right now. So important.
Right. Agreed.
But
man.
we need something on the business side, something that and I say this a lot because it matters to me. That's your brand. That's what you live and die by. You know, gamers are one thing that's gonna keep the platform healthy, but if you want it to grow and get off the ground, you got to have a good business plan, and you got to have people that are the face that people can go to for, you know, support, advice, whatever, like accusations, like whatever they need somebody to bounce off from. It's got to be a strong leader, somebody that's willing to get out there.
True. GTP, I
Yeah.
see your wheel spinning, man.
No, I'm just
What do you
listening to
think
everybody.
about?
It's funny because I've said that I think Phil needs to go and make a change in leadership if he's not going to completely change his way of doing things there. But also to touch on what Gamer TV was saying, does it really matter if Google doesn't give them the power to do what they need to in that seat? And that has been my biggest concern, is that as a lifelong gamer and as someone who plays literally everywhere, Stadia is the only place that I play and that I cover that doesn't feel like a gaming platform. It feels like a tech test or a tech platform, and their engineering and their tech is amazing and it's great, but it's not treated like a gaming company or a gaming arm of Google, such as Sony treats PlayStation, Microsoft treats Xbox. They wouldn't be as successful as they were if they weren't given the reins to do what they needed to do, especially with Phil Spencer. You know, like I said, Microsoft almost pulled the plug on Xbox in 2013,
Right.
and we weren't going to have Xbox anymore. And now you look at where they're at today, it's like, wow, we almost didn't have them. And that was for his vision and for what he saw. And the biggest reason was because he convinced Microsoft
Right.
that Xbox could be profitable. Somebody needs to convince Google that Stadia can be profitable and right the ship. And they need to let that person do their job no matter who that is.
True. True. Gamer TV, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry, you touched on it, man. That's the key thing here, and I believe no matter what we discuss, or suggestions we might have or ideas we might have, Google still has to empower these people to make the decision. I mean, to right the ship, to run the boat. If they don't, I mean, gosh, we're gonna miss out, because Stadia is the best streaming technology today, hands
Yeah.
down. I mean, you can't lie about that. When you play Stadia, it feels like a console. It's the easiest thing to just jump into, jump out, and have a great time with.
For
But
sure.
the business of Google has hindered it so much, to the point where I'm not sure if they can really turn that perception around without a drastic change. So just coming out and saying, "Hey, we're alive and well," that isn't enough to instill confidence into the mass gaming bubble, right? It's good enough for some of your guys and some of the guys in the Stadia bubble and in the Stadia community to beat their chest with, but that isn't enough for the gaming community at large. So, and to touch on Sonny's point, yeah, I believe expansion will be good for Stadia and bring in more players, but there's another huge issue with expanding to these other countries, right? One of the biggest countries you can expand to is India, but how can you get into India with cloud gaming when the infrastructure just isn't there? It's going to take so long for the infrastructure to even get up to par to handle mass cloud gaming. Period. I mean, I have a gig up and down, and I still have issues, right? My brother, who's in Chicago right now, he just installed 500 up and down. He has issues with Stadia, so much so he's like, dude, I can't do this. It isn't the tech, it isn't Stadia. It's an issue with the infrastructure speaking with the cloud tech. There are different ports. There are issues. There are just a lot of firewall nonsense that go on the back end, and too many variables for us to really believe that expansion is even a remote chance for cloud gaming, in order to push it for mass growth. That's what I mean. But obviously, expanding to places where the infrastructure is there, that's great and that's amazing. They must do that. But the important places like India and a few of these other countries with large populations, man, it's going to be so hard because of just infrastructure issues.
Well, I mean, cloud gaming isn't going to be mainstream for years still. I mean, I think we can agree on that. That's still going to take some years. So
True. So I'm looking at some numbers right now, and I was just trying to see if Stadia, whoever who makes it to India, right? How big would that be for the platform? And I'm seeing here, you guys know Netflix is one of the biggest, right? Biggest streaming service when it comes to media. And Netflix in India only has 5 million subscribers, man. And
Yeah.
it says that fell off of the 100 million goal that Netflix had planned for India. So that is quite interesting because to me personally, I've been always saying if they can get to these countries like India and China, they can make a lot of noise. But from what you're saying, the infrastructure might not be there to be able to handle Stadia. And if only 5 million subscribers are what Netflix is able to get in India, man, that might be a battle for any cloud game platform to try to get that market then,
Yeah.
right?
I think that what it's going to come down to is price point.
Yep, I was about to say that.
And this is why you're seeing a big switch also by the big companies out there like Ubisoft are starting to go down the free-to-play model. That's not even talking about the mobiles, where you can see now the big push to get all these big franchises on the mobile as well. It is free to play is going to be coming, and it's going to be coming massively along with the subscription models, and that is how you're going to see the big push for cloud gaming in the future. This is where I agree with Sonny here. I think Stadia needs some sort of Pro needs to be some sort of subscription model. It needs to have an absolute ton of games on there, because if you're just going to compare apples with apples, if you're going under the subscription model, you can subscribe to xCloud. We know xCloud isn't up to the standard of Stadia yet, but you get most of Stadia's library on xCloud on your monthly fee, and you're going to be going into places like India where you can get your Outriders, your Doom Eternals. You're going to have all that in your subscription there versus Stadia, where you're going to have to pay for it. Remember, Destiny's on xCloud as well. So this is where I think hopefully we're going to see some big push by Stadia to get some sort of subscription model added into it now, one proper subscription model with all the games.
I think they're going to have to expand on Pro and at some point just to really compete. And I just want to say, I looked it up real quick. India, it says here, India recorded about 365 million online gamers in financial year 2020. I mean, we know those aren't gamers playing on consoles. It's mostly mobile. And it says they ranked highest in terms of growth in online game downloads on app stores with a growth. I mean, naturally, the infrastructure of the internet's going to get better. This isn't going to be something where it's like xCloud or Stadia launches this year in India, and then all of a sudden it's just going to be like that quick. It's going to be something that's going to be a bit of a slow burn.
Right.
But when it does, I mean, look, India alone, 365 million gamers. I mean, just to put that in perspective, how insane that is. And a lot of them have been thirsting for some like high quality. I mean, all they're playing is Garona, Free Fire, and God knows what else, like all these mobile games that are not all that high quality. I mean, PUBG, I know, is pretty massive over there as well. So, I mean, it's going to be, and I think on what, veering off a little bit, I think that's where I feel Stadia can really make some noise, because their tech is the best in regards to running on not as great internet. I mean, Gamer TV was saying, gig download, and sometimes it doesn't run well. I totally get that. I know for me personally, I can play Dead by Daylight 4G on my phone with zero problem. 4G, not even 5G, 4G. And so I feel like that's where Stadia's tech can make some noise. I think xCloud is also going to be making a big push there as well. So it's just going to be really fascinating in the years coming. This isn't going to be something that's going to be overnight, even this year. It's going to take a little bit of time, but when it does, let's see who's in there. I think Stadia is going to have to you're going to have to take a look at their model. And that's a really good point about the pricing model, because in India, they are not buying games at $60 and all this other stuff. They are not doing that at all. So you're going to have to really take a look at how you're going to do that and see how that looks when that eventually does happen. So
absolutely.
Well, and you look at like Game Pass adding day one games, and Stadia needs to be doing a lot more. I mean, they're paying. We've seen numbers surface on the internet of them paying, tens of millions of dollars or millions of dollars at the very least to get games on the platform, but those games aren't getting profit because nobody's buying them, or not enough people are buying them to make the money back. So might as well put them on Pro to encourage people to come onto the subscription. I mean, why aren't they doing that? It's a win-win situation for the developer and Google.
It will cost a lot more money. If Stadia said we're going to put Cyberpunk on the Pro, CD Projekt Red would be going. It costs. I'm just pulling numbers out from the backside here, so just bear with us. It's $10 million to port it. We're going to charge you $100 million to put it on the Pro as a game. They are going to massively increase it because when you put a game on the Pro or Game Pass, you're paying for the lost sales on the other platforms as part of it. So that is why you don't see a lot of games do that. So if you're wanting Stadia to do that, it's going to cost a hell of a lot more money. You're going to be double, treble, quadruple in the cost for it to bring it.
And I think it falls back on what Gamer TV was saying earlier too, right? Because you look at the relationship Phil Spencer has with Satya Nadella, I'm probably butchering the name, but the CEO of Microsoft right now, and you see that they have a duo, like a close relationship, to where if he comes to him with a business plan decision, he respects him to where he's able to listen and provide whatever Spence is asking for, right? So we're talking about like game deals, right? Trying to get a game on Pro and paying 100 million, whatever it might cost to keep that going. If Google's not on the same page, right? If whoever, let's say Nate or Phil Harrison or whoever takes this approach to the whoever who's at top of Google right now and say, hey, we need 100 million, they're like, nah, it's not gonna work. Then that's a lost opportunity. So again, goes back to how much is Google, right, invested in Stadia, and are they gonna be willing to let these guys who run Stadia do what is needed to make this a profitable or successful platform? So yeah, man, I feel like this is a great discussion. I mean, a lot was said here. I feel like everyone got to share. I'm just gonna open it up. If there's anything else we didn't cover, feel free to jump in. But I do want to move. We have about like 30 minutes. I do want to move to xCloud and talk about some boosteroid stuff. But if anyone else has anything else they want to add, just feel free to speak up. If not, we'll just move to xCloud.
I would just like to, sort of remind, everyone in general, gaming has technically been set back a year in terms of, hardware with shortages, the shipping from the pandemic. So everyone's playing catch up in some way or other. It's going to have stunted certain plans that they may have had. So that's just something to remember as well.
Yeah. It sucks. It sucks because Stadia, honestly speaking, might be in a lot better place than it is right now if COVID was not an issue, right? Because again, they released fall of 2020, fall of 2019, and boom, COVID hit. And so they had a whole year to try to figure out like what is Stadia in the COVID era, where other consoles didn't have that, so they could make like an adjustment, But yeah, it sucks. It sucks. And Stadia probably would have been better off, right, without COVID interrupting the business plan. But it sucks. But it is what it is. But I agree with that, Monkey. So good luck. But let's move to xCloud. Couple of games released. Just Cause 4 released in the cloud. We had can never say this. Psychonauts, right? Released in the cloud May 13th. We have Red Dead Online. So those are the 3 games that released on the xCloud platform this past week. What are your thoughts on these games? Any of you guys pick it up? How was the performance for you guys? Were you guys excited about these games? So to get started, let's go with GTP on this one.
Yeah, I haven't had as much time as I wanted to dive into the games yet. However, I loaded up Just Cause 4 for a little bit, and I did play probably about an hour and a half of Psychonauts just because I wanted to see the original Xbox logo and launch. And as soon as I saw Psychonauts with the little
That's
thumbnail
crazy,
from the
right?
original Xbox, I was like, yes. And then I realized it's been 20 years since I got my first Xbox, and then I cried because of how old I am. But yeah, it was really exciting. So I definitely was enjoying that. My issue is the same probably that you have, Ace, that while the content is there and I'm super hyped for xCloud because I am a big Xbox fan anyways, while it's in beta and giving us 30 FPS gaming because it is a 1S type blade that we're getting, I'll always have some kind of issue with the game performance.
Right.
It's why I'm personally having trouble doing some comparisons to xCloud to other cloud platforms right now, because essentially all I'm doing is comparing it to an Xbox One S, which I have sitting here anyway.
Exactly.
It's not really giving me a lot there. However, seeing the content, seeing the plans, and seeing the vision, and seeing how well it's coming along with some of the games, how well they are running in 1080p, how the latency's feeling, how far it has come. I'm super excited to see what the Series X blades, what the next step is going to be. That's when we're going to come out of beta. That's when we're going to get true 4K 60, and that's when we're going to see some more changes to the tech. So this definitely gives me some insight. I'm really enjoying it. I do like messing with xCloud, but as far as like real true playability, we're not going to sit here and sugarcoat what it is right now compared to all the other cloud out there, but it's a hell of a good idea of what's coming, and I'm pretty excited to see what xCloud is going to do by the end of this year or rolling into next spring, because I think that's when we'll have those abilities to upgrade to the new Xbox Series X type blades.
There it is. There it is. My camera's off again. Good stuff, GTP. Appreciate your input on that. But Duncan, let's get your take on this, man.
Yeah, I will say I'll continue my theme of xCloud. It is still. I always word this completely wrong and people misunderstand what I'm saying. It has been the best performing as a cloud service for me over the last week. That does not mean it's the best graphics or anything like that. That means no stutters, no wee jolts or anything like that. So I'm still impressed with that. With these games coming, I didn't play any of them as yet, but I did play a game which I know Holtz will be happy to hear. I started up again, and it's just like Jerry said, it's a bit depressing. It's a 20-year-old game, and I started playing Final Fantasy X tonight, so I did, and I can't believe it is 20 years old, and I'm going, oh my goodness, I am so old now. But that is what I've been playing. But Red Dead going to xCloud is absolutely amazing. That again, it's just showing that they've got the two big games there from Rockstar in GTA and the aforementioned Red Dead Redemption Online. So that is real good news there.
Yeah, have you tried playing Red Dead? We'll get to Monkey. You did cover. I tried to play that game, bro, and I struggled, man. The performance really sucked with Red Dead Online on xCloud right now. I don't know if I tried multiple devices, but I couldn't get that game to run well. So I don't know if it's like overpopulated because, again, it's probably a popular game. And I know GTA had issues on the server, but I was running into some issues trying to play Red Dead Online on xCloud. And I tried multiple devices, different connections. But anyway, let's check in with Gamer TV. What's your take on these games coming?
I think Red Dead obviously is a great get because it shows a nice harmony with Rockstar in general for xCloud. But like you said, man, the performance just isn't there consistently. But if you luck up and you find a really great game and it performs well, it's like, holy crap, I see what they're doing. I see where they're going. I see what this can be, even on 1S blades, right? So you can only imagine what it's going to look like with the Series X blades at some point. But that experience is too far and few in between to really be extremely excited for every new release that comes over to Xbox streaming. It's tough. Are they good gets? Yeah, they are. But will they be hit or miss? Possibly.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it.
Good point. Thanks for that. How about you, Sunny? What's your take on these games coming to the xCloud platform?
Loving it. Love these games. I mean, it's been awesome to see them getting so many really cool games. Man, it's funny because if you guys were privy to the information I know on how some of that xCloud stuff runs, oh boy, it's kind of embarrassing, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen when they actually upgrade that stuff, and hopefully that performance is going to be there, because they are going to be making some big moves this year and next year. And I am really fascinated with xCloud. For me, it works pretty decent sometimes, and most of the time it doesn't. It just really depends. Like some games will just work okay,
Yeah.
some just won't work at all. So, and most of the time they won't work. So it's just been really fascinating to see how it's all playing out, the way that they're going about it versus other services. It's like they're getting all these games, but the performance isn't quite there. So it's fascinating. I think a lot of people use it to demo, or just they're in between, or where they're out and about. And it's not hitting that mainstream where it's like people care that much about specifically xCloud. So it's going to be fascinating when those upgrades happen, how it's all going to look. Are they going to start to really like market this as its own thing? Like, it's going to be interesting. So
Yeah, good point. Good take. How about you, Ben? What's your take on this?
I mean, they're great games. I was super excited to see all of them, especially with Psychonauts 2 coming out. I never got to play the first one. So that was kind of fun for me to jump in and just play that for a little bit. I mean, obviously it's an old game, so it ran pretty well on xCloud. Red Dead Online was pretty sluggish for me. I could still get through like the intro stuff, but I didn't want to get in any fights on it or anything like that. Haven't gotten to try Final Fantasy yet, so that'll be interesting.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Monkey, so you covered Red Dead Online, right? So how was the experience? How was you taking that?
Yeah, well, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I had a really good time with Red Dead Online. Yeah, look, graphically, texture-wise, quality-wise, it's not on the same level as GFN or Stadia right now. But the smoothness, I had a really smooth game stream coming through. And one thing I was impressed with for the 2 to 3 hours that I played was, you know how in cloud gaming, when the background is blending in, sometimes if the bit rate's poor on your stream, it becomes really blocky. That wasn't the case. It was very, very smooth with Red Dead for me. But then if we go to the other end of the scale, when I tried Just Cause 4 yesterday, that was absolutely dreadful, man. It was so poor. It was so sluggish.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was getting about 3 frames a second during combat. The graphics were just so poor and just not the quality that you would expect from Xbox.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand they're in beta, but they really need to improve with the consistency, because depending what game you're playing, depends on performance. Because look, you guys are having a good time, a bad time with Red Dead. I had a really good time with Red Dead. Some people have a really poor time with the MLB The Show. I had a decent time. I was actually good at baseball for once in my life. They just need to level off that consistency. But I think that will come, because look, that's just not a side project. That's what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry. It's an addition to the hardware right now, and the improvements will come. Just depends how quickly they want to improve it.
Yeah. True. Good point. And I do agree with you. There's some inconsistency with games. Again, might run well for some people, might not run well. And you might play for me, this is an issue. I tried NBA 2K on there, right? It ran my first attempt, left, came back, and it was miserable. So there's definitely inconsistencies. And like Jared was saying, that when we do get the Series X Blade, hopefully that fixes the issue. But so if you guys watched my last chat last night, um, I'm struggling with xCloud right now. It's hard for me. I love what they're doing. I love how they're filling out the Game Pass library. I appreciate that, but it's hard for me to get excited right now for a game on xCloud, because I mentally, like, I can't get over the fact that it's using the Xbox One S blades, right? So you pretty much, when the game comes out in xCloud, it's going to be running on the last gen console. So you're talking about like PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox. It's less than PlayStation Pro. We're talking about Xbox One S. So putting Outriders on a last gen console and expecting me to get excited to play it in the cloud lately is just not doing it for me. So I'm telling myself, I think I'm gonna like chill back with xCloud until they bring this series. I mean, kudos to them for filling out the library, getting some pretty awesome games. But me personally, my experience has been so bad, and I'm done trying to play like AAA next gen games on xCloud. It's like it makes no sense to me now. But yeah, when they update the Blade though, I'll give it another go. But it's just been my experience with xCloud as of late. But anyone else want to add to that? If not, we're gonna move to Boosteroid, y'all.
I will just quickly, because I know
Sure.
you want to hit Boosteroid, but on those points that you made right there,
Right.
one cool thing to think about is all this content that they're building up on xCloud. When they do launch the Series X blades or whatever the upgrades are called, that's going to be the flick of a switch. A lot like how you see like FPS boost on Series X and type of things
Right.
like that. They're going to be able to instantly do a lot of amazing things with that existing content library. So that's going to be a huge plus. So it is obvious that they're working on content over that tech right now. And also, and Duncan and Holtz would attest to this, if you want a little taste of what the Series X streaming is going to be like, if you have access to a Series X from a friend or your own or anything, set up your game streaming and stream to your phone or your tablet or whatever. You're getting next gen graphics. Yes, it's capped at 1080p 60 right now, but it's gorgeous. It works perfectly for me on my home internet. I can do this away from home or at home. I can be on 4G on my phone somewhere. It kicks the Xbox on. The light never even comes on. Nobody knows you're doing it. It's like incognito, and you're streaming your game. And seeing how well that works and how gorgeous the games are gives me tons of hope for what that will be able to do once it's got Microsoft streaming tech, once they're able to push 4K streams and stuff like that. But definitely anybody that hasn't checked that out, you need to do yourself a favor and try that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. And just quickly, just on that point, I said this last week, I believe, but it's a lot easier to catch up with technology than it is to catch up with the gaming library. So
I
they're doing
remember
it
that.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're doing it
you're
right.
right on that for sure. And like I said, I know what's his name, Phil Spencer already said they right now are currently testing the Series X Blade in the cloud. So you know what's interesting? I was thinking about this. You know that the Xbox testing app that we discovered, GTP. You know they have that right now in the cloud somewhere, right? And
Yeah.
if we can just crack the password,
Give me
we can
it.
actually test it out ourselves. But lucky guys are just having a good time testing Series X Blade right now in the cloud. It's good stuff. Yo, so let's get into Boosteroid. This is the first time we're covering on the podcast. I just want to shed light to this because not a lot of people are familiar with this service, and I hope we don't break the service by shedding light to it in this podcast. But Boosteroid has a lot of great games that you probably cannot find anywhere else. And if you guys are not familiar with Boosteroid, think about GeForce Now. That's pretty much what it is in the browser, right? So you purchase a game from Steam or from Epic Game Store, and you can literally play it on your browser in the cloud on any device, Android, iOS, Chromebooks, whatever the case might be. So just want to share my screen with you guys and again showcase some of the library of Boosteroid and just check in with the panel, see if you guys have actually tried this or tested this out. I was streaming last night and someone told me to check it out and I was blown away by it. So as you can see here, we have the Fortnite, GTA Warzone, CS:GO, Rocket League. I mean, Apex Legend. We have Activision games on here. We have EA games on here. We have the Overwatch, Battlefronts, the Red Dead Redemptions, Battlefield 5, The Witcher, Destiny, Fall Guys, Monster Hunter, Resident Evil Village. Right, the catalog is huge. Games that people want in Stadia GeForce Now are on here. They're not paying me to promote them. I actually think by promoting them, they might actually get in trouble and we might not see these games. But just want to check in with the panel members. Any of you guys tried Boosteroid? And if so, how has the experience been? I'm just going to open up. Anyone feel free to just jump in with your experience with Boosteroid.
Yeah, I'll start if you want. I have had a fantastic experience as of late. I did try it when it first came out. It wasn't all that great. I thought I'm going to go back in because we was covering it on the news and that, I thought let's check in here and see if this has made any improvements. And by God, it's made some improvements. The library is filled out. Naya Replicant, by the way, runs absolutely fantastically on Boosteroid. I'm at a position just now where my hardware can't run that game. I can't run the game at a good solid 1080 60, you know, for me to enjoy it. Boosteroid can, and it's just fantastic. But one thing I will say for anyone watching or watching later, these servers are in Europe. So if you are on the other side of the continent, your performance will differ from what I am getting, because obviously I'm closer to it. But if you are in Europe or in the UK, I mean, yeah, have a go. See what you
So
think.
I'm glad that you said that, because we were talking last night and I actually tested this out for myself in the US. And I think I was getting like 170 ping wise, but it ran really well for me. It almost felt like I was playing GeForce Now, not gonna lie, performance wise. It was pretty on point with my experience with GeForce Now. But again, the catalog of games here are flipping mind blowing. And Mark Watts VLG covered this, and his biggest concern was like when this gets known, it's a matter of time before games start getting pulled away. Because I don't know how they're doing this. They have Sony's games here. They have Capcom, Activision, EA games. Are they even aware that this service exists? Because they pretty much have it all here. So I just want to highlight this again, members of the panel. If you've tried this to test it out, what has the experience been with this service? It's still open.
CGX is going to be the death of Boosteroid. You guys have been pushing so much Boosteroid content out that I swear, I will say probably by this summer to end of summer, this library is half as big as it is, because they don't have permission for all these games. There's no way
It's crazy
that they're doing that. They just put every new game that comes out, they load it on this thing. I mean, there's nothing going on behind the scenes other than just loading these games up. So yeah, CGX is definitely bringing the biggest highlight to Boosteroid. So definitely when they downfall, you got to apologize to Boosteroid. It's just insane. Every other day you guys have a sweet Boosteroid content video. So for me, I'm in the US like you, Ace, but I am on the other side of the US, and Boosteroid is nowhere near GFN for me at all performance wise. But I will say, from the original time, and I've been a subscriber for like a year, so I've been supporting the service because I thought it was really interesting. I will say though, my original video, I called it the most unplayable cloud service. Don't go near it. Like if you're in my area, if you're in the United States.
Right.
Now they've actually done so much upgrading over in their own territory that I could actually call it playable. Like I could actually load up on a game and play. And the worst thing that will happen for me is those occasional stutters or load-ins or the screen tear kind of thing happens and then it comes back. It's definitely not GFN quality for me, but I'm actually blown away at the progress they've made since last summer to now. And really, there's nothing but a bright future for Boosteroid, other than the fact of when all these companies get wind of these games, I do see a licensing issue, just like GeForce Now had when they came out of beta and they got all this attention. If NVIDIA, the big guys, don't have all the licensing figured out, there's no way Boosteroid has permission for all these. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but as a service, they're growing, they're doing better. It is tough here in the US. You're going to get spotty connection and stuff, but it is becoming playable. I was absolutely surprised loading up Outriders and some other games how well they were performing considering where I'm at.
True. Anyone else want to talk about this? Have you guys tried it? You guys excited? Let me see what the chat is saying about this service real quick.
I see, sorry, I was going to just quickly say, I see that Daniel is having problems about cloud save. Well, in the last month there, actually, Boosteroid have added, so basically, if a Steam game doesn't support cloud saves, they actually save it to their own servers, if that makes sense. So they're supporting their own cloud save for your game instance, rather than relying on, Steam if they don't support the cloud save. Not on every game. They're working their way through. And here's the thing to remember as well: Boosteroid is still in beta. It's not a fully fledged company like GFN or that. So you are going to have problems along the way, but as always, get on their support and you ask them the questions, because I had a lengthy discussion with one the other day regarding your screenshots. You know how on GFN you take a screenshot, it saves it to your hardware, your PC. I took a bunch of screenshots when I was playing on Boosteroid and they just completely disappeared, and the support couldn't give me any help. So I dug in a little bit, and it turns out you have to use the Steam client, upload them to Steam before you end your game session, and then I've fed that back to them, and now they're going to use that, to help anyone else that has that question. So yeah, they're very supportive, and then they'll converse with you as well.
Cool. Yeah, again, just want to bring some, and I'm seeing the chat. A lot of people on here are actually using this, which is surprising to me. So, yeah, you guys seem to enjoy it as well. But just want to bring some light to that, man. Not a lot of people are aware of Boosteroid and what it is. And I, again, tested it here in the US last night myself, and I had a good time. A lot of games, people like, oh, when is, Call of Duty come back to GFN, or when is EA come back? You don't have to ask those questions anymore. Really, you can experience it with Boosteroid. Just giving y'all a heads up with that. And other thing to announce when it comes to low-key cloud game platforms, Firepower Cloud is actually going to be shutting down at the end of this month. I know we have a lot of people on here who use that. So just so you know, it's on our website, you can check it out. They announced that they are going to be closing down end of this month. So try to find something else before you wait in, and you just get disconnected DC with that service. But yeah, fellas, I think that is all we have for CGX 41 today. But I think that Stadia discussion piece was really cool. It's really cool to hear y'all's input and y'all's intake. And so I appreciate all of you guys just really speaking up about how you feel about that news article. So thank you all. But yeah, just want to give the members a chance to say what you do and where people can find you. So to get started with this, Duncan, what do you do, sir? Where can people find you?
You can find me at Party with Games, and we've got a couple of interesting things coming in the future, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Cool. Can you give us like a sneak peek?
Hell Monkey knows is one of them.
Oh, I love it. Cool.
But it's a fun one. It's going to be something that one of our craziness things we do, and I think it should be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Cool. Ben, sir, what do you do and where can people, the Yoda of Discord, what do you do and where can people find you, bro?
You can find me in everybody's Discord. Other than that, Twitter, my handle's in the screen there. Gonna be starting my own channel, but I don't know if I'll talk about it too much because I don't know if it'll line up with CGX stuff.
What? That's cool. Yeah, we got to talk more about that. That's awesome. Cool. Good stuff. All right, Gamer TV, sir. What do you do? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Gamer TV Plus. I haven't done a whole lot of content working on outside projects that I need to finish up my own personal crunch, but I'll get back to it eventually.
Cool. Good to always have you on here, man. Love your insight with things, man. So appreciate the discussion.
Appreciate that, man.
Today. For sure. GTP, where can people find you, sir? And what do you do?
Before I say that, for Ben, please leave your beard on. It's just please leave your beard on. Yeah, at Game Tech Planet on Twitter, search Game Tech Planet on YouTube. You guys will find me there. All kinds of gaming goodness for you. And no. And I'm also excited to see what Ben does with his channel. I've seen a little bit of what he's working on. If he launches that, it'll be cool. But even on there, just leave the beard on.
Sunny, good to have you on here, man.
Thank you,
Love
man.
the input for sure.
Been fun.
What do you do? Yeah, and where can people find you?
Sunny Cloud Gaming YouTube and Sunny Cloud Games on Twitter.
Awesome. Again, appreciate you being here for sure. Hell Monkey, do you want to plug anything?
I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been tuning in tonight. It's brilliant to see, the same names, some new names, and yeah, keep it coming. And if you ever need any help with any sort of cloud gaming, whether it be GFN to any of the virtual machines, jump into our Discord. We are always happy to help get to the bottom of your problems.
Cool. Well, appreciate you guys. So next week, heads up, we're gonna have Bill from the Nerd's Nest joining us, and I think that's gonna be quite an fun and interesting episode. So again, Sonny, we really appreciate you here and love the input when it comes to the discussion pieces. So we'll catch you guys next Tuesday, same time, 2 p.m. All right, next Tuesday, next Saturday at 2 p.m. Till next time, fellas. Peace out.